Stand by. The program will begin soon.
When I see an American flag, I immediately look at that I'm like, that person's probably a bigot. That person's probably a homophobe. That person's probably a racist if they're just flying American flags out everywhere.
Hold up. Hey, this sounds more like a you problem. You should probably go see somebody about that.
He got over $5 million per year from the American taxpayers, being given no bid contracts from Maine Governor Janet Mills, and is building a military in Somalia. He has been funneling money back to Somalia to build a military in Somalia. The guy is running a migrant services agency that builds Maine Care, which is what we call Medicaid, about $5 million a year. Oh no, those illegal immigrants are getting any Medicare. And then he said he raised money in the U.S. to buy weapons, munitions, and supplies for a paramilitary force he had hoped to lead as the president of Jubaland. Yes, that's a real state in Somalia. And to be clear, in Somalia, he's running to be the warlord of Jubaland. Elections in Jubaland aren't exactly like elections in America. It's whoever has the most guns is able to certify the election. So he needed to buy a paramilitary organization and paramilitary support in order to win the election. Avocado Diablius asked if you could bring any one comic strip character to life and train them to be a hitman, who would you choose? Oh, that's the easiest question ever. Calvin. Calvin. Oh, look, Somnambule Nation, you and I are on the same page. Calvin. From Calvin and Hobbes. Yes. And by God, Calvin would be the greatest hitman to ever live. Better than John Wick. I guarantee it. I didn't have to think of it.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
Yes, it's true. The Obama administration deported over 3 million people, and the Biden administration, over 4 million people. But they didn't need troops. They didn't need military in the streets to do it. Tell me why. Put it in the chat. Tell me why you think that's that.
Because when Obama and Biden were in office, there were no riots in the streets of Los Angeles, even though 80% of the deportations were also expedited with no hearing. But you didn't give a shit then. Now that Trump's in office, you suddenly give a shit. Hope that helps.
That turkey was amazing. Mostly because I cooked it, because I'm really good at cooking turkey. So one of my tricks new tricks that I do, you know how when you cook a turkey in a pan, even if you got one of those raised pans, it always happens. You cook this turkey and the breast of the turkey get all nice, the top gets all nice and brown, and then you go to cut the underside and the thighs and legs are like all white underneath and not even done. Well, there's a trick you can do to avoid that. What you do is you cook the bird upside down for at least 1/3 of the cooking time. So you end up browning the bottom and sealing that first, even more so. And the other thing I do is I start my oven at 500 degrees. The first 45 minutes to an hour, you put it at 500 degrees, and then you turn it down to 325 and do the rest of the cooking. But anyway, do it upside down, and 1/3 of the way through, then you flip the bird back over in the pan, and the entire bird gets finished at the same time. So apparently, in Europe, you can refer to Americans as pigs. but not convicted rapist. A German court gives woman harsher punishment than convicted. I hate it when people say rapist. I'll just say unwanted sexual activity peoples for calling him a disgraceful pig. She called someone convicted of that crime a disgraceful pig and got a harsher punishment than the person who actually committed unwanted sexual activity. And so that's why people were posting that story about the German court gives women harsher punishment than convicted unwanted sexual activity.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's a story about this man too. He led the attack on Pearl Harbor but died a Christian missionary on December 7, 1941. Captain Mitsuo Fuchida flew the lead plane against Pearl Harbor, shouting the famous code, Tora, Tora, Tora. He hated America. But after the war, he met a former American POW, Jacob DeSager, who had returned to Japan not to punish him, but to preach the gospel. Shocked by this forgiveness, Fuchida bought a Bible. He converted to Christianity in 1950. The man who started the Pacific War spent the rest of his life touring the U.S. and Japan preaching. Quote, I was a follower of the sword. Now I'm the follower of the cross. Amazing. Nearly 5 years after pipe bombs were discovered outside the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee in Washington, D.C., a suspect has been arrested in the case. On Thursday, federal agents arrested Brian Cole Jr., 30 of Woodbridge, Virginia, and he was charged with transportation of explosive devices, blah, 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 blah. But on Friday, legacy media outlets began reporting that Cole, this young black man right here, was a Trump supporter. And I'm not saying he's not because he's black. I'm just saying there's other evidence that might support the fact that he's not a Trump supporter. But we'll get to that. Quote, Brian Cole worked for a bail bonds company run by his father that worked to free illegal immigrants from ICE facilities and sued the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security. He worked for his dad. They tried to free illegal immigrants. Interesting. Yes, I know every Trump supporter, every black Trump supporter would be quick to hire Benjamin Crump, who represented the family of Trayvon Martin, attempting to sic the Biden administration Department of Justice on a local Tennessee prosecutor who had raised concerns about the bail bond companies. We'll find out eventually that this guy had nothing to do.
Additionally, if you open this up to ice fishing, while on the surface it sounds good, then what happens next year? Does someone come back and say, I want an ice shanty on Hudson Springs Park for X amount of time? And if you then allow ice fishing with shanties, then that leads to another problem. Prostitution. And now you've got the police chief and the police department involved. Just data points to consider.
It is Happy Bill of Rights Day on December 15, 1791. The Commonwealth of Virginia ratified the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. George Mason and James Madison were the driving forces behind these guarantees of individual rights. And note that all the individual rights that are in the Bill of Rights are not rights granted by the government. Those are the inalienable rights which the government shall not infringe. And if you notice, it's interesting because the Bill of Rights is all about what the government cannot do, not what the government can do. And I think the kind of got away from that a little bit, where some people seem to think that the government is supposed to grant you rights. No, these are rights you have, whether there's a government or not, and the rights that the government must protect for you. So it was a unique thing when it came about in 1791. that government is not there to grant you or give you privileges, but rather to protect the rights that you have. It's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only PDawgKnight.
Yay! Yay! Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. Also the guy who forgets to change his thumbnail every once in a while. But that's how it goes. Happy hump day! And there's the right thumbnail. There we go. How about that? All right. So, good morning. How we doing? It's Wednesday, the 11th of March, 2026. 2 days from my youngest girl's 4th birthday. Her 4th birthday is on Friday the 13th. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, we got another Friday the 13th this month. So we had one last month, and that's how it works in this time of the year without a leap year. Anyway, but she's a lovely girl, and her head will not be spinning, I guarantee. So happy hump day. Let's get on with it, because, just because. First the chat day, Avocados Dabbly hanging in there, doing his thing. Congratulations, you get the bell. Also, good morning. Midnight, I still don't know what your new X account is. I mean, if you're going to tell me, that's fine. If you don't want to tell me, that's cool too. But welcome. I'm glad you're here, my dear our young friend. And look, that's all. That's all I'm going to say about it. Good morning, Kara Soldier. What's up? Green Badger Outdoors. Mike Savage, Blarg. Also, good morning to JB. Jay Blizz is in the house. Miss Wild Wolf's here. Let's see what I'm missing here. There's me. Select Boys here, quite bright and early. Good morning. Yeah, also, boy. Attack Alpaca's here. Pope Tyrannus III, the Blessed Lich. Also, the blesser of the show with today's blessings. Not from the Father, not from the Son, but from the Holy Ghost. And that blessing of the day is blessing of the Holy Ghost. It is said that if you don't work, you don't eat. You are not entitled to your neighbor's labor. He must give it without fear, or you brand yourself wicked if you take by force. Oh my gosh, tell some Congress critters that. Tell James Tallarico that, because he seems to think that Matthew 25 is saying that he must go be part of the government so he can steal more from you to give to somebody else. And I don't think that's what it says. I don't think that what it says at all. It says you give unto others. And that message by the Pope just reinforces what I was thinking. Okay. Also, good morning to Tall Person's here. What's up, Tall Person? And when you say tall, I always remember tall person. How tall could that be? Because I could be tall person because I'm taller than the average bear. Well, not bear, but you know what I mean. Anyway, also good morning, Resolute Germ. Blue-eyed screams in the house. Oh my gosh, Don Julio, Gulf City biker trash man. Oh my gosh, Don Julio, where you been, man? Nice to have you back. Good morning, P-Dawg and chat. Long time no see. I've been around, just been real busy with life and such. Nothing bad, just crazy. Well, I'm glad you're good to have you here. I'm glad you're doing okay or doing well, maybe, for all I know. But I like the fact that you said nothing bad. I'm glad about that. All right, and then that's everyone in the chat so far. Good to have you all here. Wait, I missed somebody here. That's. See, sometimes midnight, Abby messes me up because you used to have a different Abby, and so I always think it's a new Abby. But anyway. All right, so good morning, everybody. I'm glad you're here. As I said, it is hump day, which means, we have to go through the hump day stuff. But I do want to thank the people sharing the stream like I do on the daily, so we'll do that real quick, too. That's very important to me because I appreciate you all for doing that. So here we go. Let's see. There we go. Thank you, tall person. Got on the board first. Thank you for reposting that. Congratulations. Also, thank you, Mike Savage, for our daily "Let us go" instead of just "Let's go." He says "Let us go" because sometimes those contractions can be confusing, and so he says "Let us go" to complete the thought. I appreciate that, Ms. Wildwolf and Mike Savage hitting our likes on the "Let's go." Simon Wilkins dropping some photos. What are the photos today? Let's see what we got from Simon here. We'll do that. There we go. That's not what I want to do. What am I doing? I'm trying to repost. What am I doing? Repost. There we go. Now let's, it says, because, I'm sorry, I didn't read it. Because, let's see, I think I need to more sleep because I went out pretty late last night or early this morning, depending on how you look at things. So we got a little street view there. And more street view and more street view and more street view. So thank you for the street view photos. Appreciate it. Also, JB with whatever the hell that is. That's some kind of ghostly looking thing reposting. And then, Ms. Wildwolf got some dancing peoples out here because today was the dancing. I've had some kind of dancing gift, I guess. So thank you for recognizing that. I always try to see if people are alert. And then another one. What the hell is that? It looks like it's from some anime shit. What? Oh, that's me. And let's see. And then look at that. Is that a stealth submarine or something like that? It's some kind of warship, but clearly a submarine type. And then people are gonna think I'm like gay or something when I repost some of this stuff. Anyway, which I'm not saying that as a negative thing. I'm just saying I'm not gay. Anyway, and then Alexander with other daily Ric Flair. Woo! Got to get one of those in. I hope it didn't startle anybody. And then a couple other people reposting that Miss Unholy Queen doing that thing and whatever. So there you go. All right, thank you everybody for sharing the stream. A Z Malt class cruiser. Okay. Hold on. You are not gay? Well, no. I think that's pretty clear. Not that, I guess it would be possible, but I've been married 33 years, 33 years. And I got 2 kids and grandkids and stuff. There's no purpose of being gay anymore because I'm, Marty, follow me back. Well, I'm trying to. Where? I do follow you on X, don't I? Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's the new holy. Oh, I see. That's the new queen. I get it. That's your new Twitter account. I got it. All right. Yeah, it's all a ruse. It is. I truly am. Anyway, it is hump day. Now, let me make sure that nothing changed here. There weren't any real, today on the hump day, at least the hump day one, I'm not sure. I didn't even scroll the happy hump one day. But on the hump day tab on X, you can scroll a long way before you start seeing, pieces of body parts and buttholes. But I thought this was funny. Good morning, everyone. When it's hump day and you lived to see another day. Now, if you don't know what this is, we're going to show. I think I have a picture of this in the different tabs that I have open today. So I'll explain this later. That is the new Iranian Supreme Leader who was voted on by the Council of Idiots or whatever they call themselves. And then I scrolled down a little more and I was like, he's just stealing people's money at this point. This is a guy teaching some form of martial arts, and I don't even know what that is. What is this? Is this him? Is he an Aikido master? Or what the hell is that? What is this? What is he doing? I have no idea. He's just stealing people's money at this point. That's what the thing there says. So yeah, that's on the hump day. Well, so there you go. I'm not going to scroll much farther. There's a squirrel. I don't know what the hell they're doing. And then this gal hitting a golf ball. So there we go. That's the main hump day ones. And then on Happy Hump, was there anything on there? Oh, you know what? I'm going to show you the first thing that pops up on Happy Hump Day. And honestly, I was very confused when I saw this. So here it is on Happy Hump Day. This is what the hell? I don't know what's going on here. All I know is that I'm in the Y with a capital W. And all I can say is I blame Sir Mix-a-Lot because some of this is getting out of hand. Anyway, and then some lady showing her feet. I don't think I can scroll any farther on this one. Oh, and then there's this one. It'll take you a second, but you'll figure it out. All right. Oh, the creativity of the people in the world. So there you go. So you don't like big... No, well, to a point. There is definitely a point where it's just too much. Okay? Too much. Anyway, today's holidays. What should we be celebrating today? Here we go. First of all, it's National Dream Day. These dreams will only last. Let me sing into the night. Okay, never mind. Key Deer Awareness Day. Yeah, now I'm not sure why they're called key deer. No, I know. I see Miss Wildwolf. No, she's just yelling at me for showing that. That's what it was. She did not want to see camel toe. Anyway, chat disconnected. What the hell happened? Okay, it's successfully reconnected. I don't know what the hell happened there. That's weird. Key Deer Awareness Day. Look, in my town, they have every spring in one of the there's a regional park here, not a state park, not a national park, but a regional park run by the county, and they have basically a deer culling season where but you can only hunt them with bow hunting. They have a bow hunting in this park because they get too many deer, and I'm not sure why they're called key. They're called key deer because they are in the Florida Keys. Oh, those are those little tiny deer, right? Yeah, you know what? And in fact, when we were in the Florida Keys, there's one of the keys has like this whole. They're little short deer. Okay, they're white. They're little short whitetail basically. And on one of the islands of the Keys, they're really super tame because they've never been hunted by anything, and they don't have any natural predators. So they'll just walk up to you like or just walk by you like there's nothing. We didn't see any while we were there, but I remember reading about them. So anyway, also Wash Your Nose Day. I've heard of Wash Your Ass Day, but not Wash Your Nose Day. Wash your nose. Lantern Festival still going on. National No Smoking Day. Hey, kick the habit for at least one day if you have it. National Promposal Day, where all the kids think of creative ways to invite their who they want to take to prom. Why it's national? It's a national thing. I have no idea. National Johnny Appleseed Day. Go plant an apple tree. 311 Day. 311 fan observance of March 11th, featuring marathon concerts by the rock band 311. Oh, I didn't know there's a rock band called 311 Day. So apparently there's a marathon rock band 311 Day. National Funeral Director and Mortician Day. Oh my gosh! Gentle clap for that. Thank a mortician today, I think. National COVID-19 Day. Really? Who came up with that shit? No. Sorry. No. World Plumbing Day. Miss Mashushu's birthday, whoever Mashushu is. Registered Dietitian Nutritious Day. World Day of Muslim Culture, Peace, Dialogue, and Film. What the hell? Who came up with that? That's like, by the time you say the word, the day's over. Hello, Ghost Wolf Pro. What's up? Lewis is in the house. What's up? And then Worship of Tools Day. The joke that just popped into my head, I'm just gonna keep it there because I don't. Never mind. National No Code Day. If you want to say a joke about that in the chat, again, National Worship of Tools Day. If you know what I mean. No. National No Code Day. Young Carrers Day. What's a fucking carrer? What is a carrer? I have no idea. And then Independence Restoration Day in Lithuania. There you go. There's a day for everybody. I promise you. There's a day to celebrate for everybody. Every day you got something you can celebrate. I'm going to stick with the I'll do the National No Smoking Day since that's a really easy one for me. Okay, let's talk about the highlight of the news this morning. Core CPI, which is trending right now. Core CPI is at its lowest level since 2021. Here, boom, I guess. It's funny because last month or the last reporting on this was someone was like complaining it's so good. Well, today, core CPI inflation comes in at 2.5%, the lowest reading since March 2021. Here's the very excited CNBC guy who likes to talk about it.
If we strip out food and energy and come up with the core expected up 0.2, that's exactly where it comes out, up 0.2. Here we go with the year-over-year numbers. And zero progress, but not losing any ground. It remains at 2.4 on year-over-year headline. 2.4 really.
I'm surprised because gas went up last week, but we won't see that yet.
April of last year at 2.3 to find a higher number here at December of last year at 2.7. Just to give you some context there. Now, in my opinion, the most important number year-over-year core remains at 2.5%.
Which is, I think that's what they're shooting for. So anyway, breaking core CPI inflation for February comes in at 2.4%, the lowest since 2021. Another L for Panikins. Again, that's February. March is probably going to be different because of the fact that we had a little gas price spike. And who knows how long that's going to last. Hopefully it won't last long. As I said yesterday, oil is already 20% down from its peak from beginning of this war. Chuck Schumer, Trump has not only failed to bring down prices, he's actively making it worse. Inflation was up in February, and that's before Trump's reckless war that will only drive prices even higher. Well, again, February CPI inflation unchanged at 2.4%. 2.4% unchanged from and in line with expectations. So, and a lot of that, if it's just paralleling the year before, but as you look at this, here it again, lowest it's been since 2021. But again, you got to figure this 2.4% is based on what was happening, in some of its other times. So I guess that's okay. You're comparing it to the year before, that it hasn't changed much. All right, moving on. Now, let's get some of the featured stories on X. I think we already talked about this yesterday. New York mayor hosts detained activists at Ramadan Iftar amid backlash. Iftar isn't that the ending of a fast or whatever? And he had Mahmoud Khalil, the Hamas activists at his house. We talked enough about that yesterday. I don't think I need to do it again. And if you want to get up to date on it, it's it's in this line of the tab, but that's just one of the feature stories that we've already talked about. Also, apparently, Michigan Representative Smith claims dead voters reinstated on the voter rolls. During a House hearing on election integrity, Michigan Representative Rochelle Smith testified that after she removed deceased voters from her township's rolls, the Secretary of State's office reinstated them. Why? Including one family member dead for nearly 20 years who recently got an early voting card. She shared this to support House Bill 4765, which will require proof of citizenship for registration and a photo ID to vote. While the courts have upheld Michigan's voter maintenance efforts and found no widespread fraud from inactive registration, Smith's claim spotlights ongoing Republican concerns about clean rolls ahead of the 2026 midterms, which, again, why would they reinstate people who are dead? I don't know. What's up, Rock Hopper? So here's let's watch this little video here because I think this is. Let's see. Michigan's dead voters are back and voting again. Okay, well let's see what this. And
they were able to uncover close to 26,000 voters who are likely dead but still remain on the official voter rolls over in Michigan. Here's specifically what they wrote as a part of their findings. Quote, the foundation's analysis of Michigan's voter roll and verifiable death records reveal that, as of August 2021, 25,975 potentially deceased registrants are on Michigan's voter rolls. Of those, 23,663 registrants have been dead for 5 years or more. 17,479 registrants have been dead for at least 10 years, and 3,956 registrants have been dead for at least 20 years.
How
They also discovered that at least two of
that
these
happen?
dead registrants, they were supposedly born before the year 1921, which would make them over 100 years old today. Furthermore, this legal foundation, they said that the majority of these dead individuals, they were marked as being active registrants over on the voter rolls. Here's in fact what they wrote on this front in the lawsuit, quote, the 25,975 consisted of 24,645 active registrants and 1,330 inactive registrants. Meaning that according to their research at least, close to 95% of these potentially dead voters are marked as active registrants.
Well,
now you might be generous, and you might say that this is understandable since people do, of course, naturally die.
I hate this when it does
this.
this.
The state of Michigan.
We're going to refresh this so I can pause it. I don't know what's going on with that. That happens quite a bit. And hopefully okay, there we go. I wonder why they want to reinstate these voters who are dead.
Front in the lawsuit.
There's only one reason. And the fact that they're finding out that when they say active registrants, that means they voted. How does that happen? How does that happen?
Quote, the 25,975 consisted of 24,645 according to their active, since people do, of course, naturally die, and perhaps the state of Michigan is just being slow in removing them from the voter rolls.
But they're putting them back. But now, as this person in the Michigan legislature said, the ones they've removed have been put back by the Secretary of State. Go figure. Michigan Democrats are putting dead voters back on the voter rolls after they've already been removed, and then mailing ballots to those same non-existent voters. Election Integrity Chair Rochelle Smith, former township clerk with firsthand election administration experience, testified about this during a legislative hearing in Lansing, Michigan. Here's her testimony.
I mean, you can ask respectfully, Representative Smith. The fact that there are, in fact, some errors that happen in the system. Every system has errors, and it doesn't mean that there are not safeguards in place. There are safeguards, and you as a clerk, having done many registrations previously, understand that there's a process that you go through. And you can ask NASA. There's no process that doesn't have some error inherent in the system.
Okay, thank you. And you're very right. When I was the clerk, there were lots of errors in the system. That's largely why I am here. I took off a dead voter in my township. And guess what? That dead voter was put back on. Not by me. That was done by the Secretary of State's office. So we need to do a lot of fixing here in our elections. When I was a clerk at Martin Township, there was a family member who at one point was registered at my in-laws' home, and that family member had died nearly 20 years prior. They were put on the rolls at 2020. They were mailed voter application ballots without the authorization to do that. That's the local clerk's job. So I went in there, removed her from the voting rolls because I know firsthand this family member is dead and deceased. Just this past election cycle, lo and behold, that person was put back on the voter rolls and has a card of the early voting location polling that I actually have and can produce. And that's a problem.
That does sound like a problem. Now, I wonder how that person became an active voter. How do you become an active voter if you've been dead for 20 years? Very interesting. All right, next featured X article. Gene Simmons from Kiss apparently is telling Hollywood stars to shut their pie holes about politics. I guess he's mad at Ben Stiller and Mark Ruffalo. Here's his message.
Right now Ben Stiller is calling out the president, saying he doesn't want him to use his movie clips for war propaganda. I mean, it sounds.
But
like
there's a little bit of irony in this, by the way.
Criticizing Trump, like Hollywood right now, over this war thing. Is that fair?
Yeah, because everybody in the world should listen to what actors and comedians say because they're so qualified. Basically, shut the up. Do your art.
Wow, that sounds like
up.
Jimmy's
Nobody
famous seafood.
Opinions. That includes me. Who I vote for, who I like. Who the do you think you are? People in America work hard for their living, and they don't want to be lectured to by people who live in.
Wait, why are you saying FTG to Gene Simmons?
It's time for everybody in the
Why FTG Kiss?
Shut their pie hole.
He's saying what I say.
Nobody cares what you think.
Why are we listening to?
Okay.
Why are we listening to these buttholes? And he's even saying, don't even listen to me. I'm going to give him credit for that. I'm not, even though we're listening to him right now, but you know. So anyway, yeah, he's just, what did he say? He said, urged stars to shut the fuck up and focus on their craft, reacting to Stiller's objection to a White House video using his Tropic Thunder clip alongside Iran drone strike footage from Operation Epic Fury, and Ruffles calls out against the illegal war. So anyway, he's just like, hey, don't listen to actors and comedians, and don't even listen to me. You know, why are you bothered? Why are you asking me for my opinion? I'm just a guy who plays a bass guitar and spits out blood and fire and shit. So anyway, so good for, I say good on Gene Simmons. Next. Now I have just a series of clips from various hodgepodge stuff that when I opened my app this morning, that just, they all just like, oh, this is a good one. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, this is a good one. So let's start with this one. So this is called Blue Lives. It says, watch how the mainstream media continues to manipulate America. CBS Evening News literally showed an image of Trump supporters while describing the attempted IED attack in New York City. So they started this report. And remember what was that dickhead's name? Walter Masterson. Almost giddy that it was, we just laughed as he looked like he was there shitting his pants. But watch how CBS opens this report about the little IED attack there in New York City that was aimed at anti-Islam protesters. Watch how they start this report, and I'm gonna stop it so you can see what's up in the upper right-hand corner.
Tonight, the FBI is investigating two men after an explosive device with bolts and screws was thrown into a crowd.
You see that picture? Do you see that picture? Are those the people who threw the IED with the bolts and whatever into the crowd? Why would they use that picture? That makes no sense.
It happened in New York City on Saturday.
Now there's the dude who actually threw them. He threw it at the police.
The mayor's official residence. CBS's Chanel Call is there with the very latest tonight.
So it's amazing how they would do that. So now as we go through here, there's just a bunch of different stuff. This is, and again, these are going to be pretty random. Damme O'Leary, what's up? Nice to see you here. This one's pretty random. This is kind of funny. Because remember how CNN described this as two Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning, and somehow just one turn of events makes their lives change forever. Okay, so someone did this, and I don't know who did it, but it's hilarious.
Oh no, friends, we don't throw things at people, even when we have very big feelings inside. Isn't that right, friends?
Yeah.
You know, friends, sometimes people do things that seem scary, but we have to ask ourselves, why were they feeling so many big feelings that day?
Were they bad guys?
No. They were just very confused friends.
They were just confused teens, not friends, teens. Teens.
We don't want you here. Go back to your country.
Well, that's not very nice to say, is it? Let's use nice, inclusive language, please. These boys could have grown up to become CNN journalists and uplifting members of this beautiful community. Because some mean people may feel like they didn't belong here, they made a little bitty mistake by throwing a bomb into a crowd of people. And
that's all, an itty bitty bomb.
Makes my heart very, very sad.
All right, so there you go. That was funny. Again, this is, very confused, just teens, huh? All right, so that's one thing. And then all kinds of stuff. Oh, now here's that original, the dancing cardboard guy in the dancing video or whatever. So when they announced who the new Supreme Leader is, who's the son of the old Supreme Leader, this is how they introduced him. They didn't bring him out there for everyone to see, because apparently he's was injured in that first attack, and maybe he's tending to a couple of his multi-million-dollar houses in London. But anyway, the new supreme leader couldn't make an appearance, so apparently the regime brought out a cardboard cutout of him, and this is 100% actually true as to what they did. Okay, I don't need the music though, because I'm probably gonna get that anyway. Oh, I got a copyright strike. I'm gonna have to fight that too. An actual strike this time. I will be fighting it, and I've never lost a copyright strike. Anyway. So yeah, this is how they introduced him, and then they kissed the cardboard cutout of him. Just amazing. So anyway, oh wait, what are we congratulating here for? Today is mine and my boyfriend's 2nd month anniversary. Oh, congratulations! Yay! Happy anniversary for being together 2 months. The unholy ones. All right. So that was what that cardboard cutout was. This one. Oh, also, when people get tattoos, right? People often get tattoos, and sometimes they think it's cool to get a tattoo in a foreign language, or that you think it's yin and yang, or you say there's someone will put some words in Chinese or Arabic or some other language, Russian, whatever. They'll get a tattoo with some foreign language in it, right? Except sometimes maybe you should think twice about getting a tattoo in a foreign language if you don't speak the foreign language. Here's a case in point.
Well, on today's episode of How Fucked Up is Fucked Up.
So if you speak Arabic, can you help me out real quick? I'm like shaking a little bit.
Okay, the first thing that popped in my head is probably the first thing that just popped into your head. Keep going.
I just found out, apparently, my tattoo here does not say Sweet Angel. This whole time I thought it said Sweet Angel. Or this way, I don't know which way. But I'm confused now because someone like 20 minutes ago said, no, it might not say that. But they're not telling me what it's supposed to say.
Well, wait a minute. If you don't know what it says, why did you have it tattooed on your body? But continue.
So if you speak Arabic or Islamic, one of those, please. What does this say?
It doesn't say Arabic, I guarantee you.
And that was fucked up. That was fucked up big time. You got a tattoo in a language you can't even pronounce. It's Arabic, not Arabic. I don't know what Islamic is. Anyway, your tattoo reads Hassan Sabi. Translate to boy Hassan. Hassan boy. In American terms, that says tomboy. And Hassan Sabi is a derogatory term or slur used in the Middle East or certain Middle East countries for lesbian. Your tattoo reads lesbian.
I'll translate. It says diesel dyke bitch. That's what it says. That's the Arabic translation of that symbol, the thing there on her, whatever this part of your body is. I don't even know what the hell, what part of the body is this called? Like this is your chest and that's your deltoid. What's that little area between your chest and your deltoid? I don't know what it fucking says. But anyway, it's a slur in Arabic.
And judge him by your t-shirt and your other
It's not even her side boob. It's above there. That's not on her side. Side boob's down here somewhere.
I'm going to say...
Side boob's on the boob. It's not side boob.
You literally got trolled by the same people you're trying to support. Think before you ink.
Yeah. Stop getting shit in foreign languages unless you know exactly what you're getting. No, deltoid's right here. This is muscle on your at the top of your shoulder, like the front of it. But she got it between the deltoid and between the chest. There's a little flap of skin there. I don't know what that calls. Now what studio's in the house? What up, Woo? My dear friend from high school. Good morning, P-Dawg. Part of the body no man's land. Yeah, well, particularly on her. But that's what I'm saying. Don't get shit written on you unless you know what it's being written on you. That's all my point is. Moving on. What was this one? Oh, Howard Schultz, the founder and CEO of Starbucks, is in the news because he's apparently, well, it's kind of, no, the pectoral muscle is the muscle here. What's the, between your pectoral and whatever, it's close enough. Anyway, Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, is, it's called the axilla. Oh, that's a new one. I've never heard that. Okay. She had a tattoo on her axilla that said something. She has no idea what it says, and now they're calling her some bad words. Okay. Back to Howard Schultz of Starbucks. He's telling the state of Washington, I don't have a nicer term. Basically, he's telling them to fuck off. So apparently the state of Washington had no income tax prior to some legislative action that just got passed. They've decided to implement an income tax. So Starbucks founder Howard Schultz has announced that his family is going to leave Seattle for Florida the same day Democrats passed an income tax in the state of Washington. Starbucks Corporation and Starbucks Corporate is moving to Nashville, Tennessee. So, because someone said that, Representative Natasha Hill says Washington's wealthy won't leave due to an income tax. Here's what she said. Hang on. It's so tempting to move to a state with no income tax. Anyway.
With capital flight, the truth is millionaires would pay more in other states, Madam Speaker. Even our youth
not in Florida.
When we talk about the difference between 6, 7 figures. And then this only applies to 0.25% of Washington's population, meaning 99.75% are not going to be paying this tax.
Oh, so we're just going to take it from people who we want to take it from.
Speaker, pay less in Washington. If you're making about $60K to $120K a year in Washington, you don't pay any income tax.
Oh, did she say 6, 7?
Over in Idaho, you're paying about $3,400 to $6,800. If somebody's making over 7 figures, they still pay less. For example, if you're making $1.2 million here in Washington, you're only paying, you get that first $1 free, and you're only paying taxes on the $200,000, about $20,000. Over in Idaho, you're going to be paying about $68K.
And yet, she says, no one will be leaving because of this. Well, Howard Schultz posted this, and it says, 44 years ago, Sherry and I made the cross-country trip from New York City to Seattle in our 1979 Audi along with Jonas, our golden retriever. We were starting a new life. Sherry would be the breadwinner in the family, taking on a career in design, and I started a new job on September 7th, 1982 at a place called Starbucks. Oh, I guess he wasn't the founder of Starbucks. Back then, the Pike Place Starbucks only sold whole bean coffee. Today, it's the most visited Starbucks in the world. The history of the company is bound up in the very foundation, walls, and floorboards of our first store in the city's historic market. I'm not a Starbucks person. Sorry. I'll go to Dunn Brothers. I'll go to local coffee shops, anywhere but Starbucks. Caribou. I'll even go to Caribou, even though they're a chain too. Anyway, the spirit of continuing forward has long underpinned our approach to life in business, in philanthropy, and most importantly, as a family. For those of you who know us well, we have entered the retirement phase of our lives, a term we are both just getting used to. Last year, we traveled to dozens of places around the world, places we were too busy to see when building Starbucks and raising kids, and we have moved to Miami for our next adventure together. We are enjoying the sunshine in South Florida and its allure to our kids on the East Coast as they raise families of their own. Like many other Seattle-based companies, Starbucks today stands on the shoulders of the many Pacific Northwesterners who built the company. They help shape the culture, the benefits, the brand, contributing to civic community and public life in the city and the state. It is our hope that Washington will remain a place for business and entrepreneurship to thrive, creating essential opportunity for those in Seattle and the surrounding areas. Hope Over the years, as Sherry and I grew our family and built Starbucks globally, we were witness to the astonishing development in Seattle. We focused on doing our parts to help those at risk facing hard times in our city. In 1990, Sherry started the Schultz Family Foundation, launching critical work to help others in our community and beyond, work that has grown in scale and impact with each passing year. We have entrusted the leadership of the foundation to our dear friend Vivek Varma with a mandate to accelerate our philanthropic investments to drive meaningful change. While our private family office will move to Miami, our foundation will continue operations in Seattle. We will be forever grateful to the memories, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, he's moving to Florida. Yeah, I think Starbucks is very overrated. But some, teenage girls seem to love Starbucks for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, he's announced his family's leaving Seattle for Florida the same day that Democrats passed the income tax. Now, is that a coincidence, or is he just finally saying, these people are nuts? Could be either one. So anyway, he's featured today. What else do I got? Oh, let's talk about Abby Phillips. and then we'll get to the main story. Well, not the main story. The whole thing's about the media today. And they're kind of catching on, and they're realizing they can't do stupid shit. So yesterday we talked about how, CNN made the post about how the two teens from Pennsylvania just wandered into New York City and could have been out sightseeing and doing other things, and then something that could have changed their lives. They accidentally threw a bomb into a crowd of people. Luckily, it didn't go off, and so, then they had to take down the post because it was stupid. Well, then Abby Phillips went on CNN the same night after here's the thing. They said a post regarding the two individuals arrested for throwing homemade bombs outside New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's home failed to reflect the gravity of the incident, therefore breaching the editorial standards we require for all our reporting. It has therefore been deleted. Yeah, which they still also didn't mention which protesters it was. It wasn't the protesters. It was the guy who yelled, Akbar! That guy, right? They never really clarified that either. But anyway, and then that Abby Phillips, who I'm beginning to think is not the brightest bulb in the tree, but she decided to say this about it. Now listen very carefully to how she described the event. Listen carefully.
Two Republicans say Muslims don't belong here after an attempted terror attack against New York's Mayor Zohran Mamdani, and the House Speaker Mike Johnson says nothing really to condemn those comments. Another special guest is going to be with.
Abby, what did you just say? What did you just, after what happened?
After an attempted terror attack against New York's Mayor Zohran Mamdani, and the House Speaker Mike Johnson.
After an attempted terror attack against New York Mayor Mamdani? Hi, Greg Rogers. What's up? Nice to see you. And Liberty Vet. Hi. And Brett Hayes. Hi. I don't know that those guys are trying to throw. Well, I don't think it was was any of that aimed at Mayor Mamdani? I don't think so. So she rightfully has been getting hell for the last 24 hours. Now this is it. CNN is now receiving tens of thousands of calls to fire Abby Phillips after she blatantly lied live on air, claiming Zohran Mamdani was the target of the two Muslim bombers in New York City, coming just a day after the network was forced to retract a sympathetic story about them. By the way, they figured out who the reporters are who did that, and now they're trying to get those two fired. And then here, and then this is the other part. This is fascinating, too, because I don't understand. Is Abby Phillips just that out of touch? Listen to this.
I can't speak for Mike Johnson, but I would say we've had two terrorist attacks here in the last 10 days.
What does that have to do with Muslims?
So can we condemn those? Why are we?
Of course. What does that have to do with Muslims?
What does that have to do with Muslims?
There is a radical strain of Islam that's led to.
What does that have to do with Muslims? The guy who threw the bomb, who said "Allahu Akbar." That's what. And then when the police interviewed him, he said he had a allegiance to ISIS and they were radicalized online. And what? What does that have to... What? No. And again, not every Muslim is a terrorist. We're not saying that, although most of the terror attacks happen to come from that religion. But anyway, I'm not condemning all Muslims, but facts hurt, I guess. But anyway,
terrorist attacks.
There are
obviously the vast majority of Muslims are
people
peaceful.
with terroristic ideologies here and all around the world. What does that have to do with whether Muslims belong in American society as a group?
Yeah, and let's be clear.
I'd like to hear the answer.
I'm talking about what Mike Johnson was saying.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what he
But
didn't
you haven't
say.
read his full quote. He said,
what I'm talking about is what he
on
didn't
Islamic
say.
extremism without compromising our commitment to religious liberty. He was chiding those two members of Congress.
He literally said Muslim extremism. And he was chiding the congressman who said
I haven't read his full quote. He said,
what I'm talking about is
we
what
can
he
on
didn't
Islamic
say.
extremism without compromising our commitment to religious liberty. He was chiding those two members of Congress. And by the way, as a Republican,
was he?
As a Republican, I
Yes! Yes! What do you think he meant by the second part of that sentence?
I believe that the same amendment.
There are strong language.
The same amendment that gives those two members of Congress.
Or is it bigotry, Joe?
The same amendment that gives those two members of Congress the right to say things that are offensive, that I find actually offensive as well, is the same amendment that permits Muslim people to be here proudly and practice their faith.
Nobody said that Mike Johnson.
Yelling death to America. I have never heard Abby Phillips or anyone that's on that panel that's not listening to what he's saying condemn those things either. Holy shit. Anyway, so there's that continued. Now, Abby Phillips, though, this morning, at 7:28 a.m., I suppose this is my time, posted this on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. She says, I want to correct something I said last night. The bombs thrown in New York City over the weekend by ISIS-inspired attackers was thrown into a crowd of anti-Muslim protesters and not specifically targeted at Mayor Mamdani. Oh, really? At least you noticed. That wording was inaccurate and I didn't catch it ahead of time. I apologize for the error. So, someone said I was literally about to make a video calling you out. What you probably should do is say this on air because a lot of people that watch CNN don't have X. Yeah, that's probably true. And it'll be interesting to see if she corrects herself on air tonight. I'm going to guess she doesn't. Maybe she will. Maybe. Oh, I'm sure CNN's switchboards are going nuts right now. So maybe she will make that correction on air. But then as I was scrolling down, here's a Mount Rushmore of great CNN moments. There's probably some they're missing, but let's just start here. We got the fiery but mostly peaceful protests during 2020 and in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Also, we have the Nick Sandman. The video shows crowd of teenagers wearing "Make America Great Again" hats, taunting a Native American elder after Friday's Indigenous People March. Yeah, they were just ran up and just got in those Indigenous Americans' faces. Then we also had the Chris Cuomo leaving his basement after COVID, which still I just think was fucking hilarious. And finally, we've got the Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City for what could have been a normal day of enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. Oops, some bombs fell out of their pocket and rolled right into the street. Oh, that just changed their entire, just drastically their lives are changed. God, this is CNN. All right, now, and then finally, the douchebag Walter Masterson, who he's doubling down on this whole thing, by the way. We're going to watch his video, but the commentary on this is, this guy's is a living meme. He is. And I'm going to read it afterwards. Let's see what Walter Masterson now has to say now that he knows the bombs were real. Let's see if he's learned anything about what happened. And here it is. This is Walter. You'll get a feel for how much of a douchebag this guy is.
You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
That's me in the video getting a bomb thrown over my head.
Oh, now you know it's a bomb at least. Now, what are you going to focus on? All right, what are you going to focus on that now you know that it was a bomb? Walter, what are you going to focus on?
Give you some context for what was happening.
Oh, context. Okay, we kind of know the context, but let's see.
So this was at a rally hosted by white supremacist Jake Lang. He's a domestic terrorist from January 6th, pardoned by Donald Trump. He was holding an...
Yeah, he's not an Oath Keeper or a Proud Boy. He's definitely not one of the Proud Boys. He's just one of those guys who... He's an attention-seeking attention whore, but not always wrong. But I don't know if he's a white supremacist. I don't know. I don't listen to Jake Lang. I think he's kind of a douchebag, but whatever.
Anti-Muslim rally when this guy jumped over me and committed an act of terrorism. That sounds confusing. Let me start over.
Whoa. Confusing how? Confusing how? How's that confusing, Walter?
Jake Lang was holding the rally. He's known for three things.
Okay.
Being a domestic terrorist from January 6th, pardoned by Donald Trump, losing to the letter S, and
he made that joke again. That's hilarious, Walter.
Found out today, grooming 15-year-old girls. Jake Lang.
Wait, what? How did you find that out? I just found it as we found out
today, grooming 15-year-old girls.
Okay, fuck him.
Jake Lang was holding.
Let's focus on what happened though. You're complete. Why is your focus on Jake Lang instead of the fact that you almost had some, nails and screws embedded in your body? Help me understand why you're focusing on Jake Lang as to what happened, not what whatever they were doing, because that's not what happened.
This rally saying things like this.
America is a white
Okay, he's a dickhead. Got it.
Christian men, you're a white supremacist. No,
okay.
I really want to be clear that I'm
Okay, so he's a white supremacist. Again, what's the feature of what happened? Yes, Jake Lang's a dickhead. What happened, though?
Huge mistake in not taking cover after this explosive device was thrown.
Oh, in fact, you made fun of people for doing that. Interesting.
You're at a public event and someone throws what looks like an explosive device. You're not a wimp for taking cover.
But you implied that they were. Huh.
We were counter-protesting.
Is this a mea culpa?
Making Jake Lang look like the idiot that he is. When these two idiots came along and committed an act of terrorism,
oh, good.
They could not have done more to legitimize Jake Lang's white supremacist talking points.
Yep.
They literally threw the bomb over my head while I was talking about inclusion. The CIA should definitely be paying them at this point. I just want to reiterate that I was not practicing safety that day. I could have been killed in that ways.
I didn't even listen this far down.
Me and my family. And all that being said, I'm not going to use this as an excuse to be a xenophobic bigot. Elon.
The biggest victims are
Musk and all of right-wing media are having a field day right now because I am choosing inclusion and not bigotry. I still stand by my original point, which is I'm a native New Yorker. I was born and raised in New York. New York City is for everyone, except for terrorists who throw bombs and goat-fucking white supremacists like Jake Lang.
So you're not being inclusive. Make up your mind. Oh my God. And look, if you ever have come across Walter Masterson's content, you'll be like, let's just say he's not the most logically consistent person in the world. I'm just gonna say that. So moving on. And then last couple things I got. This is interesting. The journalismers are starting journalisming. And that was the point of the name of the thing today, is that big media is kind of catching on to some things. So this is an interview on the BBC, an Iranian official, and we'll just, it's self-explanatory, so I'll just play it.
Your country is under attack, but your people have also been under attack. Since we last spoke...
Uh-oh. I don't think he wanted this question. I haven't even watched this. I just said that she's actually journalisming, so I figured to see if she is.
Your government has killed thousands of its own people in the streets who had the courage to stand up to protest against the suffering that they have been experiencing at the hands
he's allowing a woman to ask this question too. God damn.
Of the regime. Thousands of people were killed. How on earth do you justify that, Ambassador?
The Iranian side has their own problems due to the economic sanctions.
Their own problems? You've killed more people than the war has. I'm just saying, just in January.
Against us. And the Iranian people, unfortunately, has their own problems, in this matter. But I do believe, yes, now our people are in a very painful and sensitive period of time, but they are supporting the government against the foreign invader, foreign aggressors.
You see,
if you go to the inside of Iran, you can see one solidarity, one unity among the people.
Ambassador, we would love to be able to report independently from inside Iran to see what is really going on. But we have seen much of what has gone on. Just this morning, I looked at many of the images and watched some of the videos from what happened to protesters in your country in January. I looked at images and videos verified independently by our colleagues at BBC Verify that show body bags littered over the courtyard of a mortuary, the Karizak Forensic Medical Center in Iran. I saw images of young, old, teenagers, people killed by your government, beaten faces, bloodied bodies, gunshot wounds. How on earth do you justify that and sit there today saying our people have some complaints? Your government killed thousands of their own people and the world saw that.
Laura, I recommend you to be very vigilant and delicate for
and our colleagues have verified those images independently, Mr. Ambassador.
Iran. Let me finish. And so I do not want to say that we do not have any problem. No. The problem there are in our country, but you see that how to settle, how to address this.
Us killing 40 to 100,000 people, it's just a problem we have. It's just a problem we have. Don't have any foreign invaders go now.
Kind of problems, according to the Iranian laws and regulations, it's a very important. And the other than without any interference of the foreign countries against Iran.
This was not about foreign interference. This was about your own people taking to the streets to protest.
She not letting him off the hook. Good for her. This is long overdue.
During the protests, if you had nothing to hide, why not allow people to report freely and fairly?
Because the internet now using as a military devices against the Iranian security.
They turned off the internet before there was any military attack. So stop lying. Why you always lying?
Why the fuck you lying?
You should be very delicate regarding for the Iranian circumstances and condition in Iran.
Our colleagues at BBC Verify have checked all of that incredibly carefully, and that is why we wanted to put that to you today, Mr. Ambassador.
Good. More of that. More journalisming. And yes, we talked about the Iranian soccer team yesterday. There's another thing on that today, which I'm going to talk about if I have time. Once I'm running out of time, whatever. Also, and by the way, ABC News also being shitheads. Listen, let's see. This is, as I read this is what they posted. An activist holds a homemade explosive device before throwing it towards police during a protest organized by far-right influencer Jake Lang against alleged Islamification in front of Gracie Mansion. Now, if you didn't know what happened in New York City and you read that, again, I'm going to read it again. An activist holds a homemade explosive device before throwing it towards police during a protest organized by far-right influencer Jake Lang against alleged Islamification in front of Gracie Mansion. What the hell does that sound like? An activist during an organized protest. I wonder where that activist came from. It makes your head hurt at how they make it sound like he was part of the Jake Lang's anti-Islamification protest until you get the details. Now, granted, if you read the rest of the story, you might figure it out. Yes, you cannot hate the media enough. You cannot hate the media enough. However, now, all of a sudden, the media seems to be interested in fraud. And I was like, this is what the pictures are in my thumbnail up there. I think, what's his face? Who's the Shirley? Nick Shirley? I think Nick Shirley may have prompted some news organizations to start looking at fraud. However, there's an interesting side note as I show you this report. So CBS News posted this, California hospice fraud. There's a stretch in Los Angeles with 500 registered hospice companies within just 3 miles of each other and 89 in a single building. But when we visited, we found empty offices, piled up mail and phones. So here's the report that they put on X. It's about 3 minutes long. We'll watch some of it, not all of it.
The government thinks this woman is dying in hospice care, but she just humiliated me, schooled me on the pickleball court. She's definitely not dying. She is a victim, though, of hospice fraud. So hospice fraud costs taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars every year. And California is ground zero. So basically, people steal Medicare numbers, they enroll them in hospices, and then bill for tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I'm trying to figure out why that woman was on Medicare, too. But anyway.
A lot of these companies are just fronts. So over 700 of the roughly 1,800 hospices in LA County trigger multiple red flags for possible fraud. So we went door to door, and what we found was
So he pulled the Nick Shirley. Wow, this is some investigative journalism. Oh my goodness.
The spaces, piled up mail, and not a single healthcare worker in sight. There's even a stretch in LA with 500 registered hospice companies within just 3 miles of each other.
500 within 3 miles.
In fact, there's even a single building with 89 registered hospice companies.
Wow, it sounds like Minnesota.
We wanted to get some answers.
Okay, so my name is Adam Yamaguchi and I'm with CBS News, and we're doing a story about hospice, and we're just trying to understand
let's see if they say anything to him.
Hospice agencies in like a small cluster in LA County. Would love to speak with you. I'm sorry? You have no comment? Okay. All right.
Thank you, bye.
Medicare.
Oh, so that's a Californian. So now you can watch the rest of this. They don't really get to any individuals in this report. But I thought it was interesting that there's some news outlets said, oh, well, now that fraud is the biggest topic on the docket, we'll start investigating fraud too after, and granted, look, Nick Shirley is not the first to investigate fraud in Minnesota. There have been local news people here talking about it for about five years, basically since COVID, talking about how, well, wait, these numbers don't make sense, right? But also, the Wall Street Journal is getting into it. They have apparently, the Wall Street Journal has one of the first major investigations using Doge Medicaid data recently released. They found private equity-backed autism centers and small operators gouging the system. Now, it's interesting though, the Wall Street Journal focuses on some of the private equity companies in this, and so they have this article here that you kind of have to be get access to the Wall Street Journal. I can't get, for some reason, I can't get an archived version of this article. Oh, maybe I can. I'm going to try something here. Hang on, give me a second. Let's see if I can make an archived version of this since I have access right now. We'll see if that works. Oh, it says invalid URL. That doesn't make sense. Copy. Let's try this. But anyway, they seem to be focused on the fact that there's private equity firms doing this. So here's the Wall Street Journal article. The boom in autism therapy is Medicaid's fastest growing jackpot. And again, like I said, in Minnesota, we had 400 plus companies getting federal money for autism, autism services. And when Minnesota required them to get licenses at the beginning of this year, only 6 of those companies applied for licenses, but they were all taking in tons of money. So anyway, when Megan Mitchell first launched her autism therapy business in 2019, she took aim at an unlikely source of profit: Indiana's taxpayer-funded Medicaid program, the public insurance system for the poor. The bet paid off. In 2023, the state paid Mitchell's company, Piece by Piece Autism Centers, $29 million to provide therapy to just 84 patients. About $340,000 per child, according to a Wall Street Journal analysis of Medicaid billing records. That amount surpassed what Indiana Medicaid typically spends in a year treating newly diagnosed lung cancer patients or covering a year of nursing home care. Piece by Piece became one of Medicaid's most expensive providers, in part by raising its prices, triggering reimbursements as high as $640 an hour for routine therapy that can be administered by workers with little more than a high school diploma. Its highest payments were more than 10 times higher than the nation's average. Mitchell said her company complied with Indiana rules and that the state never objected to her prices. Quote, "I don't think Indiana really had any oversight, or not much," said Mitchell, who bought a series of properties, including a $2.5 million home on Florida's Sanibel Island and a $600,000 waterfront house in Tippecanoe River in Indiana, while her company Medicaid billing soared. The state has since changed some of its reimbursement practices. So basically, right now, you can do whatever the hell you want willy-nilly as far as having one of these companies. And in Minnesota, you don't even have to have real autism patients. You can just get a bunch of your friends to sign up their kids and say they have autism, and you can bill for autism services. Now, one of the key, I'm not going to read this whole article, but one of the key points that came out in this one, let's see. Oh, wait, this is not the one. I'm going to scroll down here. Right here. The journal's analysis relied on individual Medicaid claims submitted to the state programs that reporters accessed under the federal research agreement. The analysis excluded claims paid by private insurers. A separate public data set on Medicaid billings recently released by CMS contained less detailed data and didn't account for errors such as duplicative records that the journal removed. So that's not even all the records. And then also, where is it? There it is. Its auditors analyzing a sample of ABA claims in each of those states found errors in every case, including billing for therapy while patients napped or watched videos, practices largely prohibited by Medicaid guidelines. The audits didn't examine a provider's overall cost or billing patterns. If the documentation just says they're sitting there watching Frozen, said Patrick Cogley, an official in the Inspector General's office who oversaw audits, did Medicaid just pay for someone at these rates to watch a movie? Probably. Or in some cases, they just billed for shit that didn't happen at all, like we've seen in Minnesota. And there's plenty of local news reports on that. So, yeah, seems like fraud is big business. And even this provider, she's happily talking to them. She billed, what was it? What was the number here again? $340,000 per child for 84 patients in 1 year. $340,000 per child. Now, what's interesting in some of the cases in Minnesota is some of these companies were billing for 28 hours for a patient in a single day. They were billing more hours than there were hours in a day. So interesting seeing big journalism finally jump on this bandwagon. Now, a lot of this article is in reference to some what do you call them? I have to think here. How some of these big companies, what do they call them? Private equity firms. A bunch of private equity firms running some of this shit too. So they kind of focus on that rather than individual operators. But I think it's the individual operators who are committing most of the fraud. Because it seems like, here it is, 34 hours a week of ABA therapy. No way, my kid was lucky if he sat and was approved for an hour or two a week. It's either fake therapy or a babysitting scam, absolute fraud. Private equity-backed Action Behavior Center is one of the largest U.S. providers, billed Colorado's Medicaid program for some of the most hours per patient of any autism provider. Its children received an average of 33 hours of therapy a week in 2023, with more than 3/4 getting full-time therapy in at least 1 week. Action received $18 million in Medicaid payments from the state that year. So, yeah, some of the big private equity companies are doing the same shit. Everyone knows this is just, all you got to do is submit some hours and they'll pay them. And that's what the Doge group that went in there and was auditing, that's shit that they found. So there you go. All right. Just a couple of articles I have open that are left that I'm not going to get too deep into. Blue states are committing tax suicide. Their mania is contagious. Well, we saw an example of Howard Schultz leaving Washington for Florida. But it's not just in New York and California. Across the nation, blue states are committing political and economic suicide by targeting millionaires with high taxes. You know what else they're doing, though? So in Minnesota, I get a lot of clips on X of Minnesota legislative sessions. And there was a legislator who, in a clip that I saw yesterday, was talking about automobile licensing fees. You know how you renew your automobile licensing every year, which is kind of a scam anyway. It's just a way to tax you for owning a vehicle. But it pays for the roads and some other transportation shit, and they dip into it from other stuff. Yesterday, a legislator had the audacity to say out loud that we may need, in Minnesota, to quintuple our yearly auto licensing fees. And yes, gas taxes are supposed to pay for roads. Oh yeah, they're supposed to be like that too. Hello, Looney Lenny. Quintuple our yearly auto licensing fees. And so I saw that, and then people were in the comments. Apparently in like Maryland, a lot of people, our auto licensing fees are so high. One, they offer you the ability to finance them, which is, I'm like, how much are they paying compared to us? Because I think mine are like, I have a 2010 vehicle, a 2010 Ford F-150 that mine are only like $52 a year, but then I pay also my state park fee. I get state park plates so I can go to all the state parks anytime I want to. But to quintuple that for a 2010 Ford F-150, I'm not paying $250 a year to drive my truck. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of people, there's a big hubbub in Maryland right now because they're trying to crack down on people who license their vehicles in other states. So a lot of people who live in Maryland will license their vehicles in Virginia because Virginia's not only is their licensing fees lower, but also they don't have as high of insurance requirements. So, and in fact, in Virginia, you can opt out of insurance. You pay $50 and you're on your own. If you fuck up, you're screwed. But so they're trying to figure out a way how they can tax people who have licenses registered in other states. So, it seems like no matter what the problem is in any state, Their solution is to find a way to make you pay more taxes. And that's when I saw this article, blue states are committing tax suicide. Yeah, because even here in Minnesota, oh my God, they're just talking about, okay, we're going to tax all the millionaires and millionaires more. When they already pay almost all the taxes here. It's like, oh, well, just take more from them. But there's not enough of them. And so when they figure that out, there's not enough of them, then they're like, oh, well, let's just tax everybody more. And that's what happens constantly in our state. And it's just annoying as fucking hell. All right, moving on. Legal insurrection. Yamaha is going to leave California for greener pastures in Georgia. Again, another company leaving California. Yamaha is pulling out of California after nearly half a century, headed to Georgia. After nearly 50 years in Orange County, Yamaha Motor Corporation USA is packing up its headquarters, trading Cypress, California for Kennesaw, Georgia, and a sweeping corporate shift that will impact about 250 workers. The motorcycle and motorsports giant says the move is part of major structural reforms meant to boost profits as cost climbs, including pressure from tariffs imposed during the administration of President Donald Trump and shifting market conditions. Well, also because the California corporate taxes are much higher than in Georgia. Other autos have opened, can't get to them. Apparently, there's a 1,300-pound NASA satellite that's falling back to Earth. They better figure out a way to guide that somewhere where it's not going to hurt anybody. Let's see, every satellite eventually reaches the end of its mission, and engineers must decide whether to move the spacecraft into a disposal orbit or guide it toward Point Nemo or allow atmospheric drag to finish the job. Again, probably a lot of it will burn up coming into the atmosphere, but still, that's a problem. And also, there's an sarcastic article by Robert Spencer. After ISIS bombing in New York, Mamdani condemns Islamic terrorism. Nah, just kidding. Anyway, that's about him being more worried about Jake Lang than the person who threw the bomb. And also a great editorial in the New York Post about why Megan Rapinoe and Keith Olbermann and all these people who, are great protectors of women's sports haven't said shit about the Iranian female soccer team. So you can read that one. And then Daily Wire, just a full recap by Matt Walsh on this event in New York City where Walter Maston had a bomb thrown over his head by an Islamist, and now just the whole rundown on it, which we've already done here on my show because I am ahead of the curve there, Matt Walsh. So good luck, buddy. All right, that's it. I gotta go. Let me do the one tab thing and send you the links if you want to see the stuff that we did or want to share that with somebody else. She'll take a second here because I got a lot of tabs open. I don't know why it's taking longer than that normally, though. There we go. All right. Thank you guys for joining me today on the Morning Net Live. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, about this same time. Supposed to be at 10 o'clock Eastern, but I'm late a lot. But you still get the full glory of my array of opinions on certain things if you hang around long enough. So thanks for being here. Here are the links. Did I spell that right? Yes, I did. Bam, there you go. That's it. Gotta go. Thank you. My name is PDawgKnight. And I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.
I see